Hello everybody, welcome to Austin Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already and drop a like on this video. I'm trying to hit 100k subscribers on the channel by the end of the year, so your subscription would be much appreciated. Also drop a like on this video, it only takes 1 second and makes a massive difference on how the video performs in the YouTube algorithm. So, the Los Angeles Lakers are 6-2 in their last 8 games. They very recently lost a game to the Indiana Pacers that frankly they should have won, and then they beat the Portland Trail Blazers right after that. So really they should probably be 7-1 in their last 8, but not that they don't get, knocked for blowing that game to the Pacers that they had a pretty substantial lead in. But the Lakers have looked really, really good as of late, and a report even came out that the Lakers' top players on the team believe they are a few players away from being a contending level team again. And while I don't quite see that coming to fruition, I can at the very least talk about the strides that the Lakers have made and whether or not this is something that's going to stick around or if this is just a short-term win streak. So obviously where we're seeing a lot of this come from is from the benching of Russell Westbrook. I made a whole video about this over on my main channel talking about how it's improved the dynamics of the Lakers and just how the team works as a whole. But as much as that has been important, and I do think it's one of the biggest factors, it's also worthy of note that there have been some other key differences. One of them being Anthony Davis is probably playing the best basketball he has since he was in the bubble. And not that that was the highest bar, but he's definitely crossed the threshold of being a top 10 player again. And with LeBron's regression, clearly established himself as the best player on the team. Speaking of LeBron, an interesting thing that I don't even know what you do with it about this team, but an interesting fact is that they won, I believe, 5 or might have been 4 of these 6 games without LeBron. And their net rating when Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook are together is way higher than if Russell Westbrook and LeBron are together, if LeBron and AD are together, or if all 3 of them are on the floor together. So that suggests that LeBron has been more the problem than anything else, but that's net rating, and net rating does not always tell the full story at the very least, but it's an interesting fact to take a look at. But Russell Westbrook coming off of the bench, AD being way better than he has been in a long time, and that has manifested as more than just on the offensive end, where he is shooting a career high from 2-point range. His mid-range numbers have been better than last year, but still always in that same tier of you wish they were a little bit better. Still not hitting his threes, but he's just been so much better with the interior finishing. He's also having a great year rebounding the ball, but the big thing is what he brings to the defense. The Los Angeles Lakers have the best half-court defense in all of basketball so far this year. And who do you have to blame for that other than Anthony Davis? Very clearly him. He should probably be in the Defensive Player of the Year race at this point. Granted, I would expect that the Lakers have to win some more games before we're really having that conversation. But for him to be taking the leap offensively that he did, and right back to being a generational defensive talent as he has always been, although not as impactful the last couple of years, mostly because of the inconsistency of constantly being in and out of games. Overall, Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis again, so that's made a huge difference. Again, Russell Westbrook coming off of the bench, not as big of a negative as he used to be. Now, I don't know that he is consistently as much of a positive as you would like him to be, especially with the contract that he's making, but at the very least, him being moved to the 6-man position has mitigated some of the flaws that he's brought to the table. Another person that I want to talk about, Lonnie Walker. Last I checked his stats, which was a few days ago, so if they changed since then, my apologies. But 17 points per game on good efficiency. He's hitting his 3-pointers. He is attacking off of the catch well, taking his own shots off of the dribble pretty occasionally enough where you can't get mad at him. He's not taking bad shots. He's taking shots within the flow of the offense, and he's kind of gunning a little bit because that's the way he's always been. But his decision-making, his shot selection, all of that has been better. His defense has been better, and that's been one of the biggest problems in his career. And the biggest problem of his career was consistency, And he's been really consistent. He started off the year not quite as great, but he has really turned his season around, and he is looking like one of the best signings of last year. So you add all those factors in. Also, let's just throw in the fact that LeBron James has been better lately than he was to open the year. Still not exactly great, but he's had his one like really, really good game of the season. Was it against Portland? There was some game where he had like 37 and 9 and 10 or something like that. But it was a great stat line. It might not have been that specifically, but he's had that game. His efficiency numbers are slowly crawling back up to good again. He's up to like 33% from 3 at this point. So his season's turning around. I still don't think he's playing anywhere near like a top 10 player, but even if he just ends up capping out at being like 15, and then you have AD who's top 10, six-man Russ works, Lonnie Walker is a great third option, and your defense is the #1 in the league, then I do believe that there is somewhat of an avenue for the Lakers to be a playoff team with that formula. I do think there's a huge opportunity, given the fact that this team has been as inconsistent as it has, that it just swings right back in the negative direction again. But right now, if I'm a betting man, I think I would be buying the stock of the Los Angeles Lakers rather than selling it. And, not to toot my own horn, but, I'm going to do that right now. I did say that there was some upside to them going into this year. And I did backtrack that, so I can't really take credit for it. But I am happy to see them actually playing like a competent basketball team. Contrary to where a lot of other NBA fans are, I personally don't root for the downfall of a franchise pretty much ever. Sometimes a player if he's just an asshole, but pretty much otherwise I'm just hoping that everybody does good, and not everybody can, so then I have to come on here and be critical of them. But it's not been fun watching the Los Angeles Lakers be a dumpster fire, so overall I'm quite happy to see them turning this ship around. Do I think they're a trade or two away from a championship like apparently some of the veterans on the Lakers squad believes? Absolutely not. But do I believe they have taken a notable step up from where they were last year and could even potentially end up playing and being a respectable basketball team again? Sure. Ultimately, I don't know how much this is going to matter, because in this offseason, Russell Westbrook will be gone, and then what you do with that cap space is really what's going to determine your future in the short term. But ultimately, it's nice that they're not terrible, and I do believe that they will continue to be not terrible, but we can only wait and see, I guess. It's a flip of a coin. Russell Westbrook's always a cautious thing to bet on. Old man LeBron's becoming harder and harder to bet on. Anthony Davis has never been easy to bet on because of his injuries, but I guess I should add that caveat. So long as injuries are not a huge factor and, there isn't just some wild thing that happens out of nowhere, I do think the Lakers could be a respectable basketball team again, and they have been as of late. But yeah, that is it. Goodbye.